Hey guys, today we're going to be doing a review on the Tesla Offer Power Liftgate trunk, so if you're interested, stay tuned. So today we're going to be reviewing their newest model, the Mark 2.5, and so usually when I do reviews, I start with the cons first. That will end on a good note. So with that said, here come the cons. First con is the straight up price. So the price is $550 if you don't want the foot sensor and $600 if you do. So what I mean by price is that I just mean straight up monetary value. So $550 is a lot of money, but if you think about it, if you buy a car that has a power liftgate, say a Mercedes or whatever, that's about the price you're going to pay for it stock anyway. It's just buried in a huge $50,000, car price tag or whatever the total price tag of the car is. I wasn't a huge fan of having to drill a hole in the trunk lining so that way you can have the button to, close the trunk. But it's just one of those things you got to do to actually have a power liftgate trunk because once the trunk opens, it's kind of impossible to try to push the original button that opens the trunk because it's just too high. You can do that, but for most people, I don't think it's not going to be very reachable because it's so high in the angle. So you do have to put a button in with a hole. There is a ton of wiring to make this power liftgate work. So if you're not an electrical type of person like me, definitely that's kind of a big con. That's where you'd want to let someone else, like a pro, do it rather than having, you try and do it yourself with the tutorials that are out there. And that's all the cons I have. And there are a ton of pros. So let's go through them. First one is the power is hooked up to the 12-volt battery in the front, but it also is hooked up to CAN-bus, which is important because that gives the kit better communication with the car. As you'll notice on their website, they do ask if you have a 2018 or before Model 3 or a 2019 and after Model 3, and that's because the CAN-bus hookup is actually different in the two cars, before and after cars, and so Tesla Offer does make CAN-bus fully plug-in kits for both types of Model 3, so just keep that in mind that they know what they're doing, and whatever Model 3 you have, it's not going to be an issue. They can hook you up with CAN-bus. Because the kit is hooked up to CAN-bus, it does give you the ability to open and close the trunk right from the screen, but in addition to that, it also gives you the correct status. So what I mean by that is basically you have to be sitting in the driver's seat to be able to close the trunk from the screen, and that's because it's hooked up to CAN-bus, it gives you the right information. So if you're not sitting, in the seat and you're outside of the car, if you look at the app, it'll tell you the correct position of the trunk. So basically, if it's open, you'll see that the trunk is open, and if it's closed, you'll see the trunk is closed. And I know that sounds it's like straightforward, but with other kits out there, they have to actually use trickery, Trickery is what I like to call it, to basically mimic the trunk being closed so you can actually close it from the app. So with this CAN-bus, with the Tesla Offer kit being hooked up to CAN-bus, they don't have to do that. It's basically, the app will basically tell you exactly if the trunk is open or closed and give you the correct information without trickery. Another thing to note is that if you're closing the trunk from the app, it'll still ask you, do you want to open? And when you push it, it'll close it. So that's the reasoning behind that is because that's actually part of Tesla's software. And so obviously this is a third-party company and they're not going to try and break into Tesla's software to fix that. And so that's always going to be there where it's going to say open and you push it and it'll actually close it. So that's just a heads up for you. So another thing that's brand spanking new, that's pretty cool, is if you have update 2020.32, which is like a brand new update right now, that update will give you a notification that your trunk is open if it's been open for 10 minutes. So you'll get actual pop-up on your phone, hey, your trunk has been open for 10 minutes. Now because the Tesla Offer trunk is hooked up to CAN-bus, it'll still give you that notification. So if it wasn't hooked up to CAN-bus, you wouldn't get that notification because of the trickery involved, how they have to, keep the trunk open and closed with the other kits. So Tesla Offers, because it is hooked up to CAN-bus, it'll still give you that notification. These newest struts are designed to make very little noise, and so it is a pretty quiet kit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a couple sound samples of what it actually sounds like now. The struts actually have strut covers on top of them, so I'm sure you noticed that. And they are designed just like shocks on a car that have covers as well, and basically it protects the strut from dirt, and that's going to make them last longer. The one thing that I did notice though is that because it does have the kind of the strut around, not the strut, the cover around it, it makes the diameter of the strut a little bit bigger, and that actually rubs against your weather lining, your water seal on the trunk. It's more on the right side only for some reason, but it is there. So just keep that in mind that it does rub against your rubber sealing just a little bit. Tesla offers customer service is excellent. So Raymond is the guy you're normally going to talk to, and they are in Hong Kong, and basically they cater towards the Americans and Europeans because that's where most of their business is. So if you message them like at 3 or 4 a.m. their time, a lot of times he'll respond. And so normally I try not to even do that because I don't want him to respond at like 3 in the morning, which is just kind of nuts because people have to sleep. And so I'll try to, for here in the Bay Area, I try to like message him in the afternoon when it's kind of normal, like 8 a.m. or whatever, normal time for him. But if you message him at some crazy time, a lot of times he'll respond because they do cater to their clients out here in America and in Europe. So just keep that in mind. Like I said, their customer service is great. And I actually have another example. So basically, if you've seen on my channel, I have the Tesla offer Frunk as well. And I did a review on that. So I'll link you to that in the description if you're interested in that as well. I do have discount codes for both as well. So that will be in the description as well, the code. But anyway, so back to the story. I have the Tesla offer Frunk. And at one point, the motor wasn't working, and I messaged him, and he got back to me super quick, and he was like, oh, sorry, you got a bad batch of motors. We'll send one out to you. And 2 days later, I got a new motor. And this is coming from Hong Kong, too. So keep that in mind as well. They have really good customer service, and Raymond is an awesome guy. He's super responsive. So this one is kind of both a pro and a con, and it's the price. And so, I mentioned in the cons that the price was kind of expensive. But then again, as I mentioned, basically, if you're going to get this type of feature on a luxury car, it's going to be about the same price. So it's kind of a pro and a con. It's not expensive, but it kind of is at the same time. It's really cool that this kit has a foot sensor, which is a really nice add-on to the power trunk as it is. And so in this newest version, I've noticed that the foot sensor is a lot more sensitive. So in older versions, you'd have to kind of kick it a lot and do these weird sort of like movements to try to trigger the foot sensor. But this newest version is a lot more sensitive where you just do it once, just under the bumper where the sensor is, and it opens. So they've obviously perfected it to make it a little more sensitive where it's a lot easier to use. Another reason the canvas piece is so important is because this gives the car communication with the controller box. And so basically it makes the foot sensor more accurate. And basically if you're driving around, because it is hooked up to canvas, the trunk won't accidentally open if something, goes under the car, and it won't set off the foot sensor. So that's another reason why having canvas with this kit is so important. One more thing to note on the foot sensor is that because it is more sensitive, it can get triggered a little bit easier, obviously. And so basically what I mean by that is if you're washing your car or something and the hoses are dragging under the bumper, then that will set off the foot sensor. So how you get around that is you just turn off Bluetooth. And so once you do that, then it won't trigger the sensor. Obviously this is going to be when the car is in park. If you're worried about somebody maybe knowing that you have a foot sensor and trying to use it to open your trunk while you're not there, don't worry about that because the trunk does need to communicate with your phone via Bluetooth for it to work. So basically, just like if you turn off Bluetooth, it's the exact same thing as if you walk away from the car, you go grocery shopping or whatever, the trunk will not get set off by someone trying to, kick their foot under or trying to just open the trunk because the kit is not communicating with your Bluetooth. The trunk does have a sensor called anti-pinch, which basically will stop the trunk if something gets in the way. So basically the trunk isn't going to just close with reckless abandonment and try to smash whatever is in the way. If something's in the way, it will stop. The trunk does have adjustable slam settings, and so basically you can adjust the speed on how fast the trunk opens and closes. And all you need to do that is you just push and hold the close button, and it makes a bunch of beeping noises. And the more beeping noises it makes, it's 1 through 6. The more beeps it makes, the faster the trunk will open and close. The trunk shouldn't void warranty because in theory you can take the entire kit out and you'd never know it was there. So I actually did talk to a Tesla rep a little while ago and they said the same thing. As long as it doesn't ruin anything with your electrical systems, then it shouldn't void warranty. I do like that the canvas hookup now is all plug and play. So on their older kit, you actually had to splice the canvas into the Tesla system, which I did not like at all, and that was a huge turnoff for me. So because I have plug and play now, that's just a great feature and obviously makes it not void warranty because you're not messing with wiring. All their parts are made in-house, so you know the QA is going to be there and that all the parts will work together in harmony. So would I recommend this kit? I totally would because it's totally worth the price, and on top of that, it's totally plug and play, which is just an awesome feature to have on a kit like this. As I mentioned earlier, I do have a discount code for you. It's 5% off and it's in the description, and you just go to the link to Tesla Offers website. It's also good for the Frunk as well, so if you want to buy both, you can. As I mentioned also earlier, I am not good at installing these types of things, so I did have a guy install it. His name is Larry Lee. So if you are in the Bay Area, definitely contact him because he is the guy around here and he is really fast at doing these. So his information is also in the description if you're interested in having him install it. So that's all I've got on this Tesla Offer Power Liftgate trunk. If you thought the video was helpful, don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. And thanks for watching.